Hi there. You know, the world has been experiencing some of the craziest, most difficult times, certainly that I can remember in my lifetime. And I am convinced that the precious fruit of the earth is ripening and getting ready for harvest. Harrison Conley, our eldest son, who's the lead pastor here at Cottonwood Church, is going to be bringing a message to you in just a moment entitled Revival is Coming. So all I can tell you is get ready, get ready. Get ready.
And this morning, I want to stir your heart toward revival. And I want to share something with you that I feel like God has been speaking to my heart. Something that I feel is prophetic. Now, I realize that maybe that term prophetic scares you a little bit. Maybe it's been abused in the church over the last 50 years or so, but I don't take what I'm about to say lightly. I don't treat this flippantly, and I don't want you to receive it as hyperbole. I would not say this if I didn't genuinely feel this is what God is speaking to me. And I actually pray that what I'm about to share will be confirming for some of you, that you'll look at it and you'll hear it and you go, yeah, that's what God's been speaking to me as well. In the Old Testament, particularly in the creation account, the Holy Spirit is said to be hovering or brooding over the water, over the face of the deep. And maybe in the best way that you can in your mind's eye, I want you to capture that picture. See the Holy Spirit hovering over the face of the water. Because this is what I feel like God is saying to me. Saying that His Holy Spirit is beginning to hover over the water again. And He's creating a groundswell. That's the term that comes up in my heart. The Holy Spirit's creating a groundswell. And just like an ocean swell becomes a wave and eventually crashes on the shore, I believe that God is saying that there's a groundswell of His power and His conviction that's getting ready to break out along the coast. So what does this mean for us? I believe it means it's time for us to be sober and vigilant of mind because revival's coming. But hear me, and this is the heart of what I want to get at today. Corporate revival is always preceded by personal revival. I want you to catch this. Yes, we long for corporate revival, for God to move in our midst, but that will never happen if we don't first inwardly, individually experience revival. Personal revival always precedes corporate revival. And with that in mind, and for the last few minutes that I have this morning, I want to talk about a few areas that if we're going to see revival happen, we need to first revive in our own hearts. So here's the first thought. If we want to see revival, we have to first revive our love for the person of Jesus. On an individual level, we have to first revive our love for the person of Jesus. And this is something that I'm passionate about. This thing goes first on the list. If we don't get this one right, nothing else will work. It always comes back to Jesus. It's Jesus in the beginning. It's Jesus in the middle. It's Jesus in the end. The Bible says that He's first and He's foremost, and in all things He has preeminence. Everything is held together in the person of Jesus. More than our family, more than our friends, more than our career, more than the business, more than the school. Jesus has to be our number one pursuit. He has to be our number one passion in life. And if we get that thing wrong, nothing else will work. I wonder, do you love Jesus as much as you did when He first saved you? May it never be said of any one of us that we left our first love. We have to revive our love for the person of Jesus. He's everything. There is no greater form of enlightenment. There is no greater or higher form of doctrine that you can subscribe yourself to. It's Jesus. He is the fulfillment of every longing heart. I wonder, when's the last time you were alone with Him? When's the last time you heard His voice? When's the last time you were quiet enough and still enough for long enough to have time with Him and not to get something from Him? Man, I'm so guilty of that. God, I need You. Anoint me to do this. God, I need provision. When's the last time we sat just to be with Him, realizing that He's the prize? Not wanting anything from Him except to be at His feet. If we want to see revival, we have to revive our love for the person of Jesus. How do we do that? A couple of ways. Number one, we do it through his word. You want to fall in love with Jesus? Fall in love with his word. Jesus is the word. Spend some time in the Gospels in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Read about how Jesus interacted with people. Read about how Jesus loved the unlovely. Look how Jesus touched the untouchable. Try and emulate that in your life. Read through the Pauline epistles. Man, Paul had this desire. He said in the book of Philippians chapter 3, that I may know him and experience the power of his resurrection. Paul has such revelation of the person of Jesus and the plan of salvation in the earth. Jesus is the word. This thing is about him. It's not just ink on a page. It's supernatural, and it has the ability to change and transform your life. You want to fall in love with the person of Jesus, fall in love with his word. Here's the second way you can fall in love and revive your love for the person of Jesus. Get around his people. Get around his people. Now I realize that people are not perfect, and we're not always the greatest reflection of Jesus that we should be. But nonetheless, we see more of Jesus together than we do alone. You're limited if your only vantage point of Jesus is what you can see. We get around other people and they begin to talk about who Jesus is to them, who the Holy Spirit has revealed Jesus to be. Suddenly we see a new dimension, a new facet of the grace of Jesus. I shared this a few months ago, but when my grandfather passed away, at his memorial service, each of the family member had the opportunity to get up and to share stories and our perspective on our grandfather. And I got up and I shared my story. And then I sat down and then I heard story after story after story about how my cousins and my brother and my sister, my parents, my aunt and uncle who saw my grandfather. And it was almost like getting an education. Suddenly I began to see different dimensions. This man that I thought I knew so well, suddenly I began to see a completely different side to him, and he became amazing to me all over again. Can I say the same thing happens when you get around people of like precious faith and you begin to talk about Jesus? Here's what happens. Jesus begins to be like that diamond that no matter what angle you view him from, you get to see a new dimension and a new facet of his grace and his brilliance. Jesus continues to be beautiful. Listen, you've only scratched the surface when it comes to your perspective of Jesus. You can never plumb the depths of the person of Jesus. We will spend this lifetime and all of eternity discovering the more of who Jesus is. Whoever you think Jesus is, whatever you think Jesus is, I know this for sure, he's more. And if we want to see revival, we have to first revive our personal love for the Savior, the person of Jesus. Here's the second area. If we want to see revival, we have to revive our love for the lost. For the lost. And again, if we don't get step one right, reviving our love for the person of Jesus, this one won't work. Because Jesus' heart breaks for the lost. He came to seek and to save that which is lost. The will of God is this, that none should perish, but that all would find salvation. The heart of God is for lost people. And if we are not actively pursuing the lost, if we are not actively praying for the lost, what are we doing? This is the best illustration I can think of to exemplify the heart of our God when it comes to the lost. I've got 3 sons. Each of them are different, and I love each of them in their own way. They bring me so much joy watching their personalities and the things that they pursue in their life. And my oldest son, he loves baseball. And one of my greatest joys is being able to coach or go to the baseball field and watch him play. But because he loves baseball and because he's got constantly practices or games, what that means for the other 2 boys is that they get dragged along to said practices and games. Now, my middle son, Sawyer in particular, is not a huge sports fan. He was born about 150 years too late. And he literally is Tom Sawyer reincarnated. And so when he comes to the ball field, I've given him permission to kind of bring his pocket knife. He usually wears a Davy Crockett cap. And I'm like, just go make an adventure. Go have an adventure. Just stay where I can kind of see you, right? And so he comes along to the baseball field, and one particular day, I'm watching my oldest son play, and Sawyer is kind of, 15, 20 feet away from me, and I'm going like, hey, son, just stay where I can see you. I'm going to try and watch your brother, play here. Now, I'm not always the best dad, and both of my eyes don't always seem to work. And I admit it, I began focusing on my oldest son in the baseball game because I'm a huge sports fan. And then I looked to see my 8-year-old and realized he was not there anymore. So I began to wander away from the baseball game and began to kind of look around corners and look throughout the stands and look for my 8-year-old. And I would call his name and say, Sawyer, but no response, and I couldn't see him. And 5 minutes turned into 10 minutes, and I thought, okay, I better take this seriously. I better try and actually find him because my wife will kill me if I don't bring him home. So I began to look for him. 10 minutes turns into 15 minutes, and I can't find him anywhere. And if you're a parent, you know that feeling in the pit of your stomach. You begin to imagine all worst case scenarios, and I began to enlist the help of some of the parents there going, hey, can you help me find my son? And we began to scream his name and look in all these different places. I'm beginning to think someone came and stole my son, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. After about 20 minutes, Sawyer kind of comes sauntering in. He had been outside the enclosure having an adventure, and he came back in, and then you have that sigh of relief. You're like, oh, thank God. And I hugged him. I said, don't you ever do that again. While he was gone and while I was searching for him, you know what thought never entered my mind? Well, I still got 2 kids at home. Right? Like 2 out of 3 is not bad. That's like 66.5%. That's a passing grade. Right? Like that never entered my consciousness. And I'm just an earthly father. Imagine our Heavenly Father. That's why we read in Luke 15 that when the shepherd has 100 sheep and one goes missing, he leaves the 99 to go after the one. God's heart breaks for the lost. I wonder, does your heart, does my heart break for the lost? Are we consumed by seeing people in eternity? Because eternity is real. Eternity is forever, and people will spend eternity somewhere. And if we are not actively seeking and trying to save the lost, what are we doing? Jesus said, follow me, and I'll make you become a fisher of men. That's kingdom language. Jesus is talking about taking one person from one kingdom into another kingdom. Just like you would take a fish from the kingdom of the ocean to the kingdom of land. You see, in the first century, water was typed as a kingdom that represented chaos and darkness and death. And Jesus is saying, if you follow me, I'm going to teach you to be a fisher of men, where you're going to take people from one kingdom, a kingdom of darkness, a kingdom of chaos, a kingdom of death, and help bring them into a new kingdom, the kingdom of light. Make no mistake, we live in a world right now. There are 2 kingdoms happening side by side simultaneously. We live in a spiritual world, and there is a kingdom of darkness, and there's a kingdom of light. And you and I have been tasked as ambassadors of Christ to bring people from death into life. That's why it says we were taken out of darkness and transposed into the kingdom of light, the kingdom of his son. And I have to regularly assess in my own life, if I'm not fishing, am I really following? And if I get really honest with myself, sometimes I feel like I've done my job and I can check the box when I fish from the platform. But the truth is, just like you, I've been called to go into my neighborhood. I've been called to go into the sports fields where my kids play, the school system where my kids go to school, and be salt and be light. The earth is perishing, but we're salt. We're a preserving agent. The world is dark, but we're light. We bring truth. We bring hope. We bring leadership to a world around us. I wonder if our hearts break for the lost, because if we're going to see revival, we have to revive our love for the lost. How do we do this? We do it by realizing we've got a personal responsibility. Listen, God has no plan B for the world. It's you and it's me. He's called us and he's tasked us to be co-laborers with him. And I know sometimes the idea of sharing our faith can be intimidating. But as Pastor B shared so beautifully last week, look, the power is not in the messenger. The power is in the message. And we need to just be available. When's the last time we prayed and said, God, here I am, send me. Put me in a place where I have to share my faith. Boy, that's a dangerous prayer to pray. You pray that, I promise you God will answer that prayer. And you know what you'll find if you pray it? Ministries everywhere. There is no shortage of opportunity for ministry. This is a prayer I've been praying regularly. And God has answered that prayer. Now, I'm not a huge, big, outgoing personality outside of the pulpit. I tend to be a little bit more reserved. And now I've got people starting conversations with me going like, hey, do you want to go play golf? And I'm like, I don't even know your name. But yet inwardly I'm going, God, Lord, here I am. Send me. If I can be a blessing, if I can play a part. I may not lead him to Christ, but Paul planted, Apollos watered, God brought increase. I've got a part to play. The other day I was at a coffee shop, sitting there reading a book, drinking my coffee, minding my own business. Somebody walked up to my table and set their laptop down and said, hey, could you watch this while I use the restroom for a minute? I said, sure, I can't promise it'll be here when you get back though. And they went and used the restroom and came back, and instead of taking their laptop and then going back to where they were, he sat down at my table and he starts talking to me. He goes, what you reading? I'm like, oh, the Bible. He goes, oh, cool, what do you do? And I was placed in a position where now I could share my faith. Listen, these things didn't happen before, but as soon as I started praying, God, here I am, send me. Do our hearts break for the lost? Because if we're going to see revival, we have to first revive our love for the lost. Let me give you two more quickly. My time is gone. Number three, if we're going to see revival, we have to revive our love for the church. Capital C, the church. The church. Did you know that the church is called the bride of Christ? Do you know Jesus loves his church? Jesus died for his church. Could you imagine walking up to me and going, Harrison, man, good to meet you. I really like you, but you know what? Your wife, your bride, man, I can't stand her. I'd look at you sideways and be like, this relationship is not going to work. But yet so many Christians go, Jesus, I love you, but man, I can't stand your church. And Jesus goes, that's my bride. That's the only thing I'm still building in the earth. I died for my bride. And yes, the church is imperfect. You know why? Because the church is full of people. But we serve a perfect Savior. And I've just decided that I'm going to live and I'm going to breathe from a place of unity. Jesus prayed over his church. I pray that you would be one. And that the world would see that and would be a witness. Yes, there are churches where doctrinally I have some differences. Yes, there are some churches with different methods and expressions that maybe don't work for me. But you know what I found? I found that if someone is going to promote Jesus and preach Jesus and elevate Jesus and bring people to Jesus, instead of saying, I'm against them, I'm going to build a bridge and find commonality and say, we're the church. We're on mission together. The great co-mission to be the hands and the feet of Jesus in the earth. And if we're going to see revival, the church needs to be one. Unity. Where brethren dwell together in unity, God commands a blessing. He pours out his Spirit in the place of unity. How do we revive our love for the church? We do it by getting off the sidelines and making church a priority in our life. With my family, I've just decided, me and my family, we're going to serve the Lord. Just like it said in the book of Psalms, I was glad when they said unto me, we're going to go into the house of God. I'm not just going to attend service. I'm not just going to come when it's convenient for me. No, I'm going to be here every time the doors are open, and I'm going to give my life, and I'm going to sacrifice because I'm a living sacrifice, and I've been called to serve. I've been called to make a difference in the earth. What we're up to is eternal. Listen, the local church that reflects the light of Jesus is the hope of the world. This matters, and I'm going to make it a priority in my family. And we're going to serve. If you're looking for an opportunity, a practical way to fall in love with the church, get plugged in serving. Fall in love. with His church. And here's the last one. If we're going to see revival, we have to revive our love for prayer. Oh, this is so important. We have to revive our love for prayer. No man or woman is greater than their prayer life. Prayer is the place where vision gets recalibrated. Prayer is the place where we receive strength for the fight. Prayer is the place where we experience the peace of God regardless of what's going on around us. But perhaps most importantly, prayer is the place where God bestows His anointing. The anointing is found and is fortified in the place of prayer. And friends, you need the anointing. If you're gonna be effective in your walk with God, if you're gonna be effective in the world, you have to have the anointing. If you're gonna be an effective parent, you need the anointing. If you're gonna be an effective business owner, you need the anointing. If you're gonna be an effective student, manager, teacher, or truck driver, you need the anointing, because it's the anointing that breaks the yoke. Every time before I get up to preach, I spend time praying in the Spirit, because it's the anointing. It's only found in that place of prayer. John Wesley, the famous preacher, he said, before I preach, I pray and I set myself on fire and people come and watch me burn. It's the anointing that breaks the yoke. It's the anointing that sets you apart in a dark world. We need His anointing. And if you trace back through history, and you look at every move of God, it's always preceded by people on their face seeking God, people praying. Not just a one-off prayer, but prayer is a lifestyle. You look through the book of Acts, you read the Acts of the Apostles, you see God move supernaturally through His church and through individuals, chapter after chapter, line by line, event by event. And you know what always precedes those supernatural moments? Somebody was praying. And if we're gonna see revival break out in the church, we as individuals have to revive our love for prayer. It has to start here. It has to start with us. How do we revive this love for prayer? It only happens one way. It only comes one way: by praying. By praying. And so I wonder if each of us practically could commit to praying just a little bit more. I know a lot of you pray, but I wonder if we could do just a little bit more. As Pastor B said a few weeks ago, maybe we could just go a little bit further. Maybe after you drop your kids off at school, you'll just commit that as you drive home or as you drive to work, you're gonna pray in tongues. Maybe students, you can just commit to going a little bit further. As you walk between first period and second period, you would pray in tongues, or pray that God would give you your school, that God would give you the hearts of the professor, that God would bring His kingdom to your campus. Could you go just a little bit further? Why? Because prayer always precedes revival. And if we're gonna see a move of God, we've got to revive our love for prayer. God said, my people that are called by my name, if they'll humble themselves, if they'll pray, if they'll seek my face, and they'll ask for repentance, God said, I'll hear their prayer, and I'll forgive their sins, and I'll heal their land. We have to revive a love for prayer.
What a message. What an exhortation. I do believe revival is coming, but it does begin with us. And you know, that last point about, renewing our love and our passion for prayer, it's not out of reach. I know some people, they hear that thing, yeah, well, I know myself too well. Listen, you just got to start somewhere. If you wake up in the middle of the night every night to go to the bathroom, well, when you finish doing your business, get on your knees for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and seek the Lord before you go climb back in that warm bed and go to sleep. You can do that. Set your alarm 5 minutes earlier in the morning. Slide out of bed, get on your knees and pray. Take a little prayer walk in the afternoon during lunch. Do something. God will meet us as we come toward Him. And the Bible says that we can come boldly to the throne of grace. We can obtain mercy to help us in our time of need. And my friend, this is a time of need. Father, I pray for my friends that are watching right now, that they would be encouraged in their hearts to begin to seek your face. Lord, I pray that revival does begin in their own hearts and they draw close to you in Jesus' name. And for those of you, listen, that support the broadcast and those of you that do it consistently, I pray that consistent blessings would roll into your life in Jesus' name.
Heeft de preek je aan het denken gezet? Dan hebben we voor jou een gratis aanbod op onze website over het onderwerp Ervaar de kracht van God. God wil je dragen als je zwak bent. Hij heeft de kracht en wil je deze kracht elke dag opnieuw geven. Maar hoe kunnen we deze kracht dan ontvangen? Baylis Conley heeft een boekje over dit onderwerp geschreven. Ontdek Gods kracht voor jou. Download het boekje gratis op baylis-conley.nl/kracht en laat God je op zijn schouders tillen.
Wil je de uitzending van vandaag nog een keer bekijken? Ga dan nu naar onze mediatheek. Alle tv-uitzendingen zijn op elk moment voor je beschikbaar. Ga naar baylis-conley.nl/mediatheek. Heb je vragen over de uitzending of houd je iets bezig waarvoor we kunnen bidden? Schrijf ons dan of bel ons op. Ons team is er voor je. Hier vind je nog meer antwoorden op levensvragen. Er is elke dag een nieuwe overdenking van Baylis, die je online kunt lezen of die je per e-mail kunt ontvangen. Als je op de hoogte wilt blijven van de preken, kun je je abonneren op ons kanaal. God zegen.